In this video, we have the DumboRC, the DDF-350. I've had so many people ask me questions about this, wanting to know my opinion on how good of a value is this controller. So I had to pick one up and give it a shot. We're going to be unboxing it, looking at all the features, setting it up, programming it for a vehicle, and giving it a test drive. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Troy. This is Roadside RC. You'll tend to find me bashing or crawling or drifting or racing, plus doing product review videos and how-tos. Love these DumboRC controllers. In fact, I've had their older model for years and years on one of my crawlers, but these are like the $30, $40 range. Now that they're stepping up into that $100, borderline $100 price point, are they still really worth it? Let's see how good it is. So in the box, of course, you get the controller itself. We're going to dive into that more in here in a minute. You have a plug here to go into the receiver so that you can get voltage off your battery and display that on the controller. And then you have the 10-channel receiver. This is potentially one of the biggest receivers I've ever seen. Thing is just absolutely massive, but that's what you have to have if you have 10 channels. And then, of course, a fully comprehensive, nice instruction manual over here. The first thing that I'm looking at is a very tight battery door that exposes we need 4 AA's in it. And it looks like we could probably pop this out and run maybe a 2S LiPo or some battery like that in this case if we wanted to. But first, we're just going to stick AA's in it and get it up and running. There's a nice protective film. Oh yeah. And now, powering it up. Nice logo comes up, full color display, check that out. Oh, look at this, that is fancy. So of course, this is pretty common anymore. You'll see these kind of graphical displays of your throttle, your steering, and your other inputs. But check out the little LEDs up here. When you get to the ends you're turning, it's flashing. When I hit the throttle, it's flashing. When I hit the brake, it's flashing. Now, I don't know why I need that, but it's fun. I mean, it's clearly fun. I don't think that adds anything value to me on a regular basis, but maybe I could set those up. Let's see if those are programmable later. On here, I don't have the receiver or anything plugged in yet, so it's showing me that the receiver voltage is null, RSSI connection signal is null. There's a timer on here, and then you can see right here is channel 1, 2, 5, and 6. 5 and 6 are these rotary knobs that we have here on the side. So you can get those. It looks like getting those to 0% might be difficult. They're sitting here like bouncing at 1, -1, 0. Very sensitive here. So if you're looking for an exact figure on those, you might have some trouble, especially around the 0 mark. But then we have 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10 up here. So as an example, if I hit 3, you can actually see it. I don't know if it's going to come through in the action camera or not here, but it'll actually change position where that's going. 7 is here, and it's a 3-position switch right here on the side. So it looks like these are independent, just toggles. We have a 3-position switch here on the side. Number 8 here is just a momentary switch, so it only switches once you hold it. Number 9 is a toggle, 10 is a toggle. So you have 1 momentary as it's currently set up, 1 3-position, and a whole bunch of toggles. Oh, look at that, they light up. They light up when you press them. Ooh. Got all the LEDs in this thing, don't they? Let's see up here, does it do it? I didn't even pay attention. Yep, those even turn green when you hit them. That's fancy. Over here on this side, you have your audio out along with a USB, so if you do want to connect into the computer, you can do that. The thing overall feels really nice in the hand. Perfect weight, really good size. Controller and the knob, it's got a little bit of an angle to it. See how it's kind of curled over there a little bit? It just feels about right. I like it. This battery right here, it looks like, is the controller battery itself. Yes, I do not have absolutely brand new AA's in it, so it's only showing a reduced battery, and it seems to be falling quite noticeably here as well. So, fluctuating at least here if you see it, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. From this main menu, the roller knob lets you look at, it looks like some trim here on both sides that you can hit with that. If I hit this, and then I can, I can actually set my trims right here at the very front, so that's nice to see. Now if I want to get into the main menu itself, I'm going to hit the power button again. It's going to come in. We have a general, a model, a transmitter settings, and then a language at the bottom. So I hit the general menu. Then in here we have rudder reading. So again, this is a live output of all 10 channels. So if we go to the next menu, this is reversing. So now I can absolutely reverse all 10 of those channels. I can set the endpoint. Now the endpoint, it looks like I only have for steering and throttle. I'm assuming we can later tell it that steering and throttle are channel 1 and 2, or change that. And then I have a rotary knob endpoint. So that's only channels 1, 2, 5, and 6. I have a sub-trim on channel 1 and 2. I have auxiliary channels here. Look at this. 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the other auxiliary channels besides the rotary knobs. Now here is where you can actually set an independent endpoint, positive and negative, on every single one. And for this 3-position switch, you can actually set what that is in each one of those as well. That is quite interesting. So setting up winches, setting up anything auxiliary like that, you have the ability to do this. All right, if we go on over to part 6, it is a key type. So you can have a locking or an inching. Now, locking was just hitting from side to side. And let's try one. So we're going to do key number 3, which is up here. We're going to convert it over to inching instead of locking. And then we're going to go way back up here to where we can see the rudder reading. And channel 3 is at -100. Inching is just a bump. Ah, look at that. So I changed it from toggle back and forth. I changed it to a momentary. That's what we're going to call it. So inching means momentary. Locking means it flips all the way back. And so there's that channel 8 that we knew was already like that. Interesting. Okay, so you can change any one of those from a momentary to a toggle or vice versa. That's pretty cool. And then remapping, here we go. So except for channel 1 and channel 2, you do not have the opportunity to remap channel 1 and channel 2, but otherwise you can tell all the other channels which one of these buttons it goes to. All right, into the model menu, there's a cruise control. So if you hit the 8th channel, if you turn this on, then you can actually change it to where it'll take off and set at a certain speed. That's kind of fun. Oh, look at this. We have steering curve. I'm betting the next one. Throttle and brake curve. Now, I really like this, especially for things like RC drifting. I like being able to set my throttle kind of exponential in here and dial in that curve however I want it. Same thing for brake or reverse. I've had some vehicles, especially crawlers actually, where I wanted to soften the reverse. Otherwise, you get into that uh-oh and you hit the reverse and the truck goes taking off on you. Now, gyro mix here, we will end up messing with this and turning this on later. The receiver does have a built-in gyro, so we're going to test it and just see how good it is. There is a tank mixing, so if you are going to be driving an actual tank or something along those lines where you need to mix channel 1 and channel 2, it's all set up for you right here to where you can do that. Winch mix, it actually already has on channel 3 and 4 right now. It actually has the winch mix, so you can actually go in or out, rise or drop. And you can also change the ratio of how fast you want those to go, which is really great. Lastly, under the transmitter settings, here's where you can select the different models. It'll take up to 10 different models that'll be stored in this controller. You can name it, you can copy, paste, you can reset. And then down here we have our LED modes, so we can actually choose. Oh, look at that. If I turn it to bright, then the LEDs are just on. If I turn it to close, then I think it just doesn't come on at all. And then it was factory set at the dynamic, which was it comes on whenever we use them. We can do the sound, and we can do the backlighting on here and auto off. We also have power. Ooh, and down here is where it says battery type. Oh, look at that. So yes, we are correct. It will also take a 2S or a 3S LiPo according to this menu. Now we have it in AAA at the moment, and we have a voltage alarm. We can even calibrate to the voltage there. So what's really interesting about this is I think this controller sits right in the middle of two other controllers that are out there right now that offer a lot of the same features. As I'm going through all of these menus, it just keeps reminding me of the Radio Link. This is the Radio Link RC8X. Really nice controller, has rechargeable battery in it, has a much bigger screen, but from the usable features that are in it, they have a lot of the same features and they have a lot of the same interface and same programming. Now this is a step nicer, a step fancier, but it's also over double the cost. Is it really worth it to step up to something like this when you have this Dumbo for $100? Is it really? Maybe it is worth it to you. Maybe you like the feel of it a little bit better. Maybe you're worth it for the extra screen, some of the other features that this does have, such as some of the FPV things and the programmable screen and some things like that. It has a few extras like that this Dumbo does not offer, but this does 90-95% of what this is for less than half the cost. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum from like that Radio Link or something like a Futaba or something like that, that's one of the higher end models, there are cheaper models compared to this DumboRC quite as well. The FlySky GT3C, the HotRC CT8A, which has also been rebranded under the Rollarlo name. Both of those in like the $40 or $50 range. Both of those do, again, 75% of what a controller like this Dumbo is doing for half the price. So if you're looking for an even more budget setup, both of those will save you a little bit more money, but it will also lose you some features that I think you really do probably are better off spending the extra money for the DumboRC to get. But in order to see, let's put this in my drift car and just see how it works. But let's get this DumboRC actually fired up in a car and drive it and make sure it does well that way. I have installed it here just temporarily in my Red Cat RDS drift car, hooked it up with my Futaba GYD 550, RevD servo, and my Hobbywing ESC. First thing I note is that steering is reversed, and I don't want the car to run away on me, but also throttle and brake are reversed. So we need to turn everything off, reverse it here in the controller, and then try again. To reverse it here in the controller, we're going to go into, I believe it was the general. And I'm going to go to both channel 1 and channel 2 and reverse both of them. And now, steering is the correct direction, and throttle is also the correct direction, so that is great. Now, the one thing with the gyro game is that my channel 6 is now set at 0. So if I start to adjust this number positive, then maybe you can see here on the gyro we have a red light come on, so that is good. That means now we are using the gyro, and if I turn it back to the negative direction, there we go. It'll actually turn green. So you can control a gyro independently, AVCS and non-AVCS, with this knob on the side here, and you have a readout directly on the screen as to what percentage gyro gain you're running, which is a very nice thing. So I'm going to set this thing in the 70s-ish range, and I need to go and I need to finish the setup with this gyro, but I'm going to set it in the 70s-ish range, and we're going to give it a shot driving it around and see how it does. Test number 1 done with this controller, and it works. So if you are looking for a budget-minded RC drift controller, this has all the features that you would want, and it's $100. So you can save a whole bunch of money. Now, if you are into the fancy S-Bus stuff with Futaba and Accuvance, then this won't do that. But it will do what 90% of the RC drift folks out there need or want, and that's pretty awesome. But now this always makes me wonder. They say that it has a built-in gyro, and they claim that it is a new, better design. So I'm going to bypass my GYD 550, and we're going to test just the gyro that's built into the car. I have now bypassed the gyro. In fact, I just took it physically out of the car. So now we have the receiver in, and the steering still works, of course, but there's no gyro function because it's turned off so far. So if I go into the menu, under Model, number 4 here is Gyro Mix. I'm going to turn it just on. It says channel 8 at the moment, which I think is interesting because that should be channel 8, not VR5. I notice my wheels are now scared. So something between the gyro in here and the Rev D servo right now currently is not liking life. They're scared. We'll see if that's a problem or not. Enable key says null. Adjustment knob is VR5. Let's see what happens. So if I... Ooh, the more I do it, the jumpier it gets. Okay, interesting. Alright, so even if I go negative, if I go all the way to negative 100, it stops. That's interesting. But it also says that current value over here is 6. So I do wonder if that means... So I'm adjusting this knob right here. That is the number 5 knob. With the gyro all the way down here, it shows current value is 0. And I have no gyro. As I start to give it some value... Oh, yep, we're starting to have a gyro now. As I keep going, that's about 50% gyro gain. There we go, we have a gyro. And the gyro does appear to be working in the correct direction, except now, so this is funny, look, the gyro works in the right direction, but it has reversed my steering. So let's go back out of it, go to the general menu, and let's swap my steering. Let's see how the car drives. The gyro truly works in the drift car. It's not great. It is not the best gyro. It's not a standalone gyro meant for drifting by any stretch of the imagination. Can you get around a simple course with it? Yes, 100%. But in order to have it have any control whatsoever, you have to run pretty high gyro gain, which means you end up with a bunch of wobble in the steering. Car seems a little twitchy, does not like changing direction if you go from one direction to the other. Seems like maybe the processor in the gyro is a little bit slow, as an example. So as you go from one direction to another, you have a big swing. It struggles to keep up with that change of direction. It's very easy to spin out. So overall, it works, but just not exactly what you'd really want to use for a drift car. After that testing is done, final thoughts on this controller. I think all the features that this offers is quite good for the $100 price point. It's punching above its weight. It's doing things that some of the Futabas, that Radio Link, some of those kind of controllers are doing at a much higher price point. So who is this really for? I think this is someone who is wanting a pretty nice radio. Really good features. It feels really nice. It feels really good in the hand. It looks really nice. It feels more premium than its $100 price point. It's for someone who wants that, both in the crawling and in the drifting world, but doesn't want to have to pay that big price point. I hope this video was useful for you. I will leave a link in the video description to both this Dumbo radio and the Radio Link and the Noble MB4 so that you can check them all out and kind of get an idea for yourself what you think makes the most choice for you. If you have any questions about the testing or anything that I did, leave them down in the video comments below. If you're interested in anything else that I've done, come over and check out this playlist over here at the Drift Tech in it. It'll have more of these radio tests and everything like that I'm talking about. So thank you, and goodbye.